Listen closely for the word. Here is a simple rule of thumb for behavior. Simple rule of thumb for behavior. Ask yourself what you want people to do for you. Then grab the initiative and do it for them. If you only love the lovable, do you expect a pat on the back? Run-of-the-mill sinners do that. If you only help those who help you, do you expect a medal? Garden variety sinners do that. If you only give for what you hope to get out of it, do you think that's charity? The stingiest of pawnbrokers does that. I tell you, love your enemies. Help and give without expecting a return. You'll never, I promise, regret it. Live out this God-created identity the way our Father lived toward us. Generously and graciously, even when we're at our worst. Live out this God-created identity the way our Father lives toward us. Generously and graciously, even when we're at our worst. Our Father is kind. You be kind. The word of the Lord. For the next few minutes, let's think about what mercy means. What mercy means. Perhaps this three-word phrase is the most controversial and the most confounding three-word phrase in the whole Bible. This one. Love your enemies. Love our what? What kind of sense does that make? You don't mean distance myself from my enemy? You don't mean get even with my enemies? You don't mean avoid my enemies? You don't mean pray from a distance for my enemies, love my enemies? What for? if I love them, doesn't it mean they're going to get away with it? What they did to me, what they said to me, that doesn't make sense. And a lot has been loaded on these three words that makes it hard to understand what Luke was talking about and what God may be saying to us about that now. Because in the civil rights movement, the preachers who were leaders of the civil rights movement took these three words and they put a certain cast on them in our relationships with white racial abuse. They had a point they were trying to make. They had a thing that they were trying to do. But I don't know how they use this and how they taught it to us and how Luke is using it and how we should understand it today are the same things. What many of the leaders of the civil rights movement, the pastors, the preachers, including Dr. King, wanted to do was to prepare us to receive abuse from white Americans and not retaliate. To meet their hatred with love. And often, the way that we were supposed to love was to be abused and not return or retaliate what we receive from hateful people. There was a political objective here. The idea was if we were shown to be the victims of abuse without retaliation, that could result in sympathy for our condition. And perhaps it did. Because once the attacks became televised and people actually witnessed the beatings of African Americans, the sicking of dogs on Africans, the fire hosing of African American children flying through the air because of the power of the hoses, people's sympathy and sense of disgust were touched by them. And some may have even been moved to support the movement or join the movement. And we were cautioned to love our enemies by not giving back to them. Part of the fear here was that hate can produce hate. And I think that was also one of their objectives, was to avoid our developing a hatred for others. Because hatred is corrosive. It destroys inwardly the one who hates another. Anger, however, is a different thing. And anger is appropriate in the face of injustice. But those who were teaching us to love our enemies, on the one hand, believed they were going to help us save our internal selves from the corrosive power of hatred. But they didn't tell us about the anger part and how that was righteous. And I think we need to understand. How could people who were members of the Emmanuel Church in South Carolina stand before Gilly Ruth and say, I love you? It isn't right to hate, but there's something else that you can be angry. I'm angry with you. You should not have done what you did. You harmed people and you offended God by your behavior. I think that how we commonly use this word vagrants, how God intends it to be used is misunderstood. Because I don't think we really know the mercy has been. Our lives matter. That phrase, Black Lives Matter, has so much power, so much truth, so much righteousness. I don't even believe the people who invented it understand it like it should be understood. No one has the right to abuse us, to dehumanize us, to destroy our senses of self, because those were God-given just like our bodies were. The appropriate response is not hatred. It is anger. And all within that there is a certain kind of love that is at issue. This is what Luke was writing about in Luke's gospel. When he says love, he's talking about agape love. In the Greek language, there are 4 different words for love, all having particular meanings. And different meanings for all of the 4. That's one of the problems we have because we're not reading in Greek, we're reading in English. We think when we see the word love, oh, I know what that is. That's just like, be careful. Be careful. 4 different words for love in the Greek language, the Koine Greek language of the New Testament. One of them is eros, erotic love, romantic, love between 2 partners who devote their lives to one another. That's one, but that's not the one that Luke is writing about. Philia is another Greek word for love. That's love between family, mother and father, or sister, blood kin, that kind of love. It's the second one. Storge is friendship between people who are not blood kin, but find some resonance in one another and form a relationship that isn't kinship based, but it's based on mutual affection and support of one another. That's not the one that he's writing about. Not arrows, not story, not really about agape. Agape is the kind of love that God shares with all. The kind you can even have in your reign. At what someone has done. Or when someone is angry at you because of what you have done or what you have failed to do. The promises you made and not kept. The I will that turned into the you didn't. The love of God still covers you in those kinds of experiences. Because it's not looking or waiting for you to do right. That kind of love don't make no common sense. We say, I respect those who respect me. I love those who love me. And I don't like those who don't like me. Luke said, okay, then what difference has your religion made? Because people who don't believe do the same thing. They love the people who love them and don't love the people who don't love them. They treat people good who treat them good and treat people bad who treat them bad. What difference has your religion made? You're a follower of Jesus? So what? Why waste your time? If the way you respond is just like people who don't believe in Jesus. What does worship mean? See how confusing this is out there? People don't believe in this religion thing. It's just so simple. It's way more complex. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We were in Bible study a couple of weeks ago, and someone was confessing about how they couldn't pray for the former president. You can probably guess which one. Couldn't pray for him because, and what a list, right? What a list. So I said, okay, and then the person said, but I love everybody. See how complex all of this is? You love everybody, but you can't pray for that one. Does that mean you love everybody? Or just the everybody's who do what you think they are? So I asked this question, came to me out of the blue. What kind of prayers do you think he needs? Did you hear me? What kind of prayers do you think he needs? Can you pray those? Let me tell you why. Somebody might say that about me. I can't pray for him. And I hope somebody will say, what kind of prayers do you think he needs? This is what mercy means. This is what mercy means. And I don't know what your life has been like. Maybe you've never hurt anyone's feelings. Maybe you've never broken a promise. Maybe you've never told a lie. Maybe you've never hurt anyone with something you did or said. Sometimes it was an accident, and other times it was intentional. Well, I can't claim a perfect life. And if what I've done wrong condemns me forever, then I don't want to live in a world I'm hoping that even the undeserving can find forgiveness. Because that is what mercy is. We have to all live perfect. We have to never, I don't have to read no confession, but I have nothing to confess. But hopefully, I live in a world where all can thrive because what I haven't done right doesn't condemn me forever. That someone will love me and pray for me just because I'm here and I'm trying. Even if they don't like what I said, even if they don't like what I look like, even if I'm not their cup of tea. We all still need to live together in a world where all can thrive. That's what mercy looks like. Jesus had a conversation with God and said, I'm going to put on flesh and go down there. I know, but I'm going to do it anyway. Not because they've proven themselves worthy, but because we love them so much. And they'll misunderstand me, and they'll accuse me, and they'll come for me, and I might even die. This is what mercy is. I want them to have just because we love them so. Don't you think for 1 minute Jesus never got angry? Oh, you faithless generation, he said to the disciples. How long will I have to put up with you? They showed him the way to be with one another. Not just within their group, but also with people they had a difficult time loving. What do we do with the people who have a difficult time loving? They're under your roof. Maybe at Thanksgiving dinner table this November. Maybe in your church. In your community. Hope for mercy. Love your enemies. Pray for those who stifle you. I said, you love your enemy, help him do without expecting a return. Why? Because of Allah. Because of divine, selfless love that will go to any length to attain the well-being of its object. Because as the spiritual says, if you live like heaven belongs to not just heaven in the heavenly places, but if you live right, a merciful, forgiving, generous life, heaven belongs to you while you're walking around and still breathing, because love never fails and God's love never dies. That's the good news today. We can be righteously angry. We can think about what we've done and what others have done, but it's covered. It's covered because God's love never fails and God's love never dies. There's no loss. That's what mercy. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.